How do Mexican parents react to a surprise pregnancy at 41? Let's just say the holidays got a lot more interesting. Yeah, my mom got el ojo cuadrado and my dad was like, no chingues. ¿En serio? And then of course the classic, ¿y por qué te tardaste tanto? Why did it take you so long? After years of waiting, this pregnancy felt like a miracle. But sharing the news con mi familia, that was its own adventure. Their reaction was not what I expected, and definitely something that I'll never forget. If you've ever had to share big news with your family, you know how nerve-wracking it could be. Today, I'm sharing the full story, todo el chisme, on how I broke the news that I was pregnant to my traditional Mexican parents. Their reactions, the tears, and the laughter that followed. Trust me, you don't want to miss this. If you guys are new here, welcome to Mi Vida Loca. Just to give you some context, I am 41 years old. I just married my ex-husband for the second time. That is a whole nother story in itself. Y pues, we were trying to have a baby for about 3 years. 3 long years. It wasn't easy, and honestly, I just thought it wasn't gonna happen for us. But here we are. And fun fact, I actually was pregnant during my wedding in November and I didn't even know it. Can you believe it? I was walking down the aisle not knowing that the biggest surprise was yet to come. Life works in mysterious ways, right? But here's the thing. Even though I was over the moon, I was so grateful to be pregnant, I was terrified. I'm 41. I thought, oh my God, this is gonna be so hard. I was terrified of a miscarriage. I was terrified of what people were gonna think. And honestly, just terrified to tell my parents. In Mexican culture, we don't even talk about sex. If you're Mexican, tú sabes. So telling my parents I was pregnant was like almost indirectly telling them that, yeah, your little girl has sex. Awkward, right? So we got married November 24th, and then we found out around December 5th on our honeymoon that we were pregnant. So it was pretty close to Christmas. So we were thinking, do we share the news on Christmas Eve? Because Latinos celebrate Christmas on Christmas Eve. So we were thinking, do we celebrate it on our Christmas Eve dinner? I was reluctant at first. Normally you don't tell people until you're about 12 weeks. And by Christmas Eve, I was gonna be about 10 weeks. So at first I was like, maybe I wait, like maybe I don't tell them. And I had seen another one of my influencer friends tell her family on camera pretending to take a picture on the countdown. And I was like, that would be so fun to just record their reaction, right? This is the one time I think I'm gonna be pregnant, I'm pretty sure. So I wanted to just capture that reaction and the moment of sharing it to my family. My Mexican mom who had been praying for this for me forever. My dad who had been telling me also, ya plácate chamaca y ten chamacos. Because forever, I honestly didn't want to have kids. In my 20s and 30s, I was so focused on building my business. O sea, mi bebé era Body by Gia. My baby was my business. So we were gonna record the video and pretend it was going to be a picture and then tell them on the countdown, 3, 2, 1, we're pregnant. So how I thought my parents were gonna react was totally different from the way they actually reacted. For example, my mom, I thought she was gonna be super emotional, in tears, and just like, ay, mija, al fin. Pero no. You'll see later how she reacted. I was afraid that she would be a little concerned because I got pregnant at 41, but I know in my heart she had been wanting me to have kids forever. She had been subtly dropping those signs in almost every conversation. 3 years ago, I was telling her we were trying and she would call me on full moon nights, okay? She'd be like,
mija, hoy está la luna llena. A lo mejor tú y Michael, tú sabes.
She would never say it because again, we didn't talk about sex, but she would hint, hey, tonight's a full moon. Maybe you should, you know what I mean? And then other times she would call me and be like, make sure that your body is hot, or other times she would call me and she'd be like, tienes que ir a hacerte los masajes. She kept pushing me to go get these massages that apparently open up your hips. I never did it. I was like, Mommy, estás crazy. Please stop talking about me and sex and just awkward conversations in the last couple years. Now my dad, I honestly was just afraid. It was just like I turned into this little girl again, telling my papi, I had sex, I'm pregnant. Even though I was 41 and married, it was still just so scary. I thought he would just sit there with like a stone cold face, just like, because my dad's like this little short but scary Mexican man. He's so loving and kind too, but like, you know how Mexican dads can be. tú sabes. They're not the most expressive and emotional beings. And let's be real, I was gonna indirectly be telling my daddy, like, I be having sassy time with this giant 7-foot man. Not exactly the conversation that I was looking forward to. But isn't it funny how we build up these scenarios and like it doesn't go how you think it's gonna go? But their reactions were so much better than I could have imagined. So, La Nochebuena vino, Christmas Eve finally came, and we were prepared to tell the family that we were pregnant. It's a big deal when my entire family gets together. For Christmas Eve, we typically will eat tamales, we'll have ham, we have our frijoles and arroz, yes, the traditional Mexican food. So we finished having dinner and we were prepping the family picture. Oh my God, I cannot tell you, my heart just started going bam, bam. And then I kept looking at Michael and we were both like, okay, we're about to tell him. Like, I was almost like, maybe we don't tell him. I was seriously just scared. I don't know why it was so scary for me to tell my family. But when we were getting closer, you know, I asked him, I was like, oh, okay, are we gonna set up the family picture? Like, I brought my tripod. But again, Mike was sweating, armpits sweating. He was starting to get even a little bit sweaty. My heart was beating so fast. But it was finally the moment. We finally got the courage to gather the family by the Christmas tree to take our picture. I start setting up the tripod. I'm like, all right, you guys, get closer. Like, now what they didn't know, again, remember, they didn't know that I was filming. They thought that it was just gonna be a timer. You know, the picture would take it after 5-second countdown. And well, here's how it went. Okay, hold on. All right, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. We're pregnant!
What? No.
Van a ser gran paso. So you can see my nieces and my nephews, they were so shocked. My sister too was like, what? Her expression was hilarious. But what was funny is that my mom and my dad, they had no idea what the heck had just happened, because first of all, my mom doesn't really understand English. She only speaks Spanish. And my dad, I think he just is used to me making jokes. So I don't think he even believed me at first, or he just was like, maybe I didn't hear what I just heard. So they just kind of froze. I had to repeat myself in Spanish for my mom to finally understand. And even then, they really didn't believe me, because just a little bit about me is I've always been the joker in the family. I always like to mess with my dad's emotion. It's really not nice, but growing up in high school, I used to tell my dad that I was pregnant on April Fools. That was my dad's biggest fear, so of course, I would love to play with him. I did it the last 3 years in high school, and he believed me every time he freaked out, and then I'll be like, just kidding, April Fools. Like, that's so cruel. Don't ever do that to your family. And I hope my daughter never does that to me. Oh yes, we're having a girl. I will share all of that later. But so I think my dad didn't believe me. My mom either. They were like, what? Because I had been trying forever. I think they honestly were just like, no va a pasar. Okay, así se quedó. They were pushing me to maybe even adopt, and I was like open for adoption. But finally, it hit them. I was like, yo, I'm freaking pregnant. And my eyes got teary-eyed. I think that's when they really believed me. Like, holy shit, this is real. And so my mom just started slapping me with her scarf. No, like you saw it. And my dad was like, no chingues. It was the funniest experience. And I just remember being so emotional. My eyes were super teary. And my dad's comments after were so cringe. Like, okay, so if you guys know, my husband used to play pro basketball. And so my dad was like, oh, al fin le atinó. Al fin hizo esa canasta, which means like he finally hit the basket. He finally made it in. So awkward. And just to kind of like tease him, I'm just like, Dad, what are you even saying? It's almost like his was not able to aim right for a long time. And while my mom, obviously she did get emotional eventually, she was, you know, just so happy for me. She had been wanting this forever. Even at our wedding, during her speech, she was like, espero que nos den por lo menos un baby. Like, she even was like, I'm praying for just one baby. Little did she know I had that baby inside of me on the day of my wedding. You could see her clip here. It was so sweet.
Pues pensó en ellos dos, ¿verdad? Que nunca vi que ella dejara de amarlo, dejara de pensar en él. Y qué bueno que Dios les da la bendición en este día tan especial y los junta y los une para toda la vida. Respétense, ámense y cuídense siempre uno al otro. Y que Dios los bendiga todo el tiempo. Y si fuera posible, un hijo.
And my parents were just so happy for me. For years, they had been telling me, my dad was always at like, ya ten chamacos, ya plácate, you know, because I traveled a lot and I was so focused on my business. But I kept telling my dad, it's just like, that wasn't my happiness. I wanted to succeed, to achieve so many goals before I decided to have a baby. And so having a baby really wasn't on my to-do list for my 20s and my 30s. And so my dad and my mom were both finally just really happy that like I was finally gonna be a mom. I think they knew more than I did that this is something that I genuinely did want to do. I think I was just letting the fear scare me from doing it for so long. But when I finally did want to do it a couple years ago, it was just sad because I'm like, dang, now that I want to do it, my body can't get pregnant. And for a while I was like, did I sacrifice having a family for my career? And it was scary. And now the truth is I didn't sacrifice it. I got to have my career. I got to achieve all these goals, all this success, and now have a baby. And I still have more goals that I want to accomplish. I still have more dreams that I want to accomplish. And I feel like now this baby is going to give me this new passion and purpose and drive to keep going, because this little girl is going to look at me and be like, man, mommy's a badass. If anyone's going to teach this little girl to be a badass, it's gonna be me. But honestly, now after processing that I'm pregnant, I'm so excited. I feel like this is the best time in my life. And now being 18 weeks in, I'm like, okay, like the doctors have pretty much said, like, you're pretty good now. Like it's very, very little like the percentage of a miscarriage now is a lot less. And I can more confidently feel like this is gonna happen. I'm gonna have a baby in my hands in like a couple months. And it's so crazy. And you know, that fear of possibly miscarrying and the fears of just what can happen during the pregnancy, the first trimester, which I'm gonna be sharing all of the lies that I heard about the first trimester in the next video, because I have had the best first trimester. I've been working out 5 days a week. I have been eating like normal. I'm not getting crazy cravings. Let's hope it continues like that, but I will be sharing that in the next video. And here's the facts, girls. That age truly doesn't matter. I'm 41. I had 0 symptoms. I've had the best pregnancy. My friend who's 25 years old had the worst first trimester, was bedridden the first trimester. So age really doesn't matter. Whether you're 25, 35, or 41 like me, your journey is uniquely gonna be yours. Society loves to put timelines on everything. We should be married by this age. We should have kids by this age. And all of that is BS. Time is an illusion. I know that sounds crazy, but time really is an illusion. And God's timing is so perfect. There's not a specific age that you have to have it all together. There's not a specific age where you have to do it all. Life doesn't follow a script. Don't let anybody tell you that it's too late or you're too old to chase your dreams, whether that's having a family or starting that business. One thing that I want you to remember is that if it's meant for you, it will never miss you. The only thing is that it will be on God's timing and His way. That part is a whole nother conversation about surrendering to God's timing. Because if it was up to me, I would have got pregnant 3 years ago and it would have been a boy. God knows more than I do. He knows what I need. I just know what I think I want. And at the end of the day, I can look back now, 41, pretty wise now at this age. I can look back and say the things that I wanted and the things that I received, God's way was way better. So amigas, trust the process, trust the timing, and don't let anybody dim your light or discourage you from chasing your dreams and your heart's desires. Thank you so much for watching today. I hope that this video inspired you, gave you hope, and maybe you learned something from it. And make sure to subscribe if you want to see that next video where I'm going to be sharing the lies of the first trimester. And I invite you all to follow my journey as a first-time mother in her 40s. I'll see you in the next video.